Okay, we're moving on to another hot topic in gaming, which is the fact that many parents do witness a change in their child's emotional state when they are playing video games. And this is something that's hard to deny. As a father, I can say that I have been encouraging my children to play video games since they were able to operate a game controller. This is a picture of my son. Um, the reason I raise that point is I can assure you that playing video games is not something that makes people angry or makes them angrier. If anything, if a child or an adult is prone to rage or anger when gaming, it's more a sign that they are prone to rage or anger, and it's got nothing to do with the game. The game just happens to be a provocative aspect. The issue is with the person, not with the game. That said, games can be a source of frustration. We'll get to that in a second. If you wish to read more about this, I have collated quite a lot of academic data in relation to this subject and the subject of addiction. Please go to the college blog, doverdlc.blogspot.com, to read more and to find my post on this subject. I won't go into that in as much detail here. This is one of the quotes from that post which I think is worth noting. We need to keep in mind whenever we're having these conversations, yes, these are issues, but they are minor issues. It's the minority of games that actually have violence, criminal or sexual situations in them. The vast majority of games, by default, are not like that. They are harmless, maybe not great games, but they're certainly not games you need to be worried about your child playing. Gaming is something which is a wonderful, powerful, enjoyable experience, and it doesn't necessarily involve violence. I know I said it before, I have to say it again because I constantly come across that assumption. This is why people get angry. It's not because of the game, it's because they're frustrated by what's happening in the game. One of the big positives of gaming is that they are engaging active experiences. But that, of course, can lead to frustration. Frustration can lead to rage. I can't think of many situations where someone gets frustrated or made angry by watching a TV show or reading a book. I'm not saying it's impossible, I just think it's quite unlikely. Certainly on personal reflection, as someone who reads a lot and watches a lot of TV, I can honestly say I can't think of many situations where I've been moved to rage or anger as a result. I'll be honest, I have been moved to rage or anger by playing video games. I found this picture and I found it to be quite insightful. This would be a common situation which will, if I'm not managing it well, will lead to anger. The old throwing the controller across the room situation, the desire to want to throw the console out the window is something I have to say happens to me all too often. I think at this point I need to say this is not a reason to stop gaming, otherwise I would have, and I'm not particularly worried. The issue isn't with the game, the issue is with me. I need to take steps to control my anger or my reactions. Now, before you say, no, I've heard enough, clearly you need to stop playing video games.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious! That ball was on the line. Chalk flew up. It was clearly it. How can you possibly call that out? Well, he's walking over. Everyone knows it's in this whole stadium. And you call it out? You got the absolute pits of the world, you know that?
You cannot be serious about expecting me to stop playing video games because they make me angry. If you're going to ask me to do that, you better ask me to stop playing any form of sport, particularly tennis. Tennis is a sport I quite like. I have been known to want to do this to my tennis racket. I have thrown it at least twice, I would say. I haven't actually smashed it to this state. The point is, it wasn't tennis that's the problem. It isn't my playing of tennis the problem. It's my reaction to my inability to play that game well. Tennis is a classic situation which drives me to frustration because of the fact that it's a game where you can lose without the opponent doing anything. Golf also has a similar effect upon me. I find it an extremely frustrating game because often I am frustrated by my own inability to play that game. It's me that's the problem, not the sport. And the same with the video games that make me angry. It's pretty much me that's the problem, not the game. So, to summarise, yes, games can make students, children, adults angry. It's the experience that's causing the anger, not the game itself. I would say, actually, games that you saw me playing that are obviously violent games like Grand Theft Auto are not the games that tend to make me angry. It's more games like Mario, which can be extremely challenging, especially in later levels in the game. Those are the kind of games that make me angry. So what do you do? Well, here's what I do. Take a moment and take a deep breath and maybe take a break from that activity and go and do something else. Calm down, do something else. Now, that doesn't have to be a game. Sometimes it is. Just play a different game if that's going to be a problem, or go and do something else. Go out and have a run. Go out and go and watch some TV. Do something else other than gaming for a while. One of the great things about video games that's not true of tennis is I can actually change the difficulty level. A lot of kids, usually do with bravado, want to play the game on the hardest level. And I've got to say, some games, even easy is hard. Never mind playing it on normal or even hard, or there is actually some levels hardcore. So tell the kid it's okay. Why don't you go in, change the difficulty level? Now, what's problematic here is some games won't let you change the difficulty level. Mario is a good example. But most mainstream games now do have that option, and many games will even prompt you if you die enough times in a game to actually say, do you want to make it a bit easier? Many of the mainstream games will actually let you shift difficulty as you play through the game. So you can actually start the game off on an easier level, make it harder as you get better at the game, and so on as you move through the game. Last but not least, another great thing about gaming is you can cheat. Well, you can cheat in tennis, but it's not as easy. With a game, you can consult an online walkthrough or a game guide, free, and plenty of them online. IGN in particular I find to be useful for these. And you will find lots of other gamers who have helpfully posted videos that they know are difficult aspects of the game, or will give you a step-by-step guide as to get through a level, or strategies that are more effective in a certain gaming situation.